U.S. Army seeks innovative financing models from private equity firms to fund $150 billion modernization. The U.S. Army invited top private equity firms to pitch projects for its $150 billion infrastructure overhaul, seeking creative financing for data centers, rare earth processing, and other Army transformation initiatives. Oh, wow. Look at that double. The U.S. Army has invited major private equity groups, including Apollo, Carlyle, KKR, and Cerberus, to pitch strategic projects for this funding. Its infrastructure, according to Financial Times. The Secretary, U.S. Army, Daniel Discroll, and Treasury Secretary Scott Benson convened a forum with about 15 of Wall Street's top buyout firms last Monday to discuss potential deals. Discroll told the British news outlet, hey, here are the assets we have in our arsenals and our depots that we're underutilizing. What are those types of deals where we can work with you and invite you in, all you private equity venture capitalists? Well, a participant described the forum as a serious and wide-ranging, involving ways to find cost-efficient capital for the Army's supply chain. Another reportedly noted it was pretty clear Benson and Driscoll are serious about working with private capital. Oh, they certainly are. The initiative, dubbed the Army Transformation Initiative, seeks to integrate new technologies and encourages partnerships with big tech and defense startups. I can say unequivocally. All right, go ahead.
Yes? Yeah, and really quick, just so everyone knows who Scott Bessent is, he's not someone that's involved in the Ministry of Defense. He's not involved in the Army. He's the Secretary of the Treasury. Why is the Secretary of the Treasury telling Wall Street to invest in our Army? Doesn't that sound like that should have been something Pete Hegseth was managing? But I mean, it just goes to show you they're making it obvious to you guys, like, war is a business. This isn't about defending us. This is a business. And what they're essentially telling you by telling us what the focuses are going to be is we're now going to use our Army to invade countries with these natural resources, and then and Trump has already started the precedent of nationalizing private firms. So we're going to invade these countries, steal the resources, give it to corporate America. The government takes a stake in it and then pays back, like these investors. So now they're not even like hiding the corruption. They're like integrating all the corruption in front of our eyes and putting it down in law. So it's no longer illegal. Now, Matt, the corruption is legal, and it's the game plan. It's not something that's done behind the scenes. It's the game plan.
Silicon Valley, baby. We were going to get that anyways, regardless of Trump or Kamala or whatever. It's these big tech bros they were going to do their thing no matter what. It was going to happen. That's the thing. I think it's just that Trump was the best vehicle for them to usher this technocracy age that we're moving in. Do you want me to play the James Lee breakdown? Because you mentioned Pete Hegseth, and I think he kind of explains this. Let me throw this up.
He did a good job breaking it down too.
We love James Lee's work. I'm trying to get him on the show. Actually, I'm trying to get him on the show. He's done some great work with Epstein. He's doing great work on Charlie Kirk. He doesn't hold any punches here. Here we go.
Know who this guy is? Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, now the Secretary of War. But he's not really in charge. He's just the TV guy, looks good on camera, gets people riled up, but there's actually someone else who runs the military. And that guy is billionaire Steve Feinberg, the Deputy Secretary of Defense. He is the Pentagon's chief operating officer, overseeing the day-to-day operations of the agency. He's also the co-founder of Cerberus Capital, which is a defense-focused private equity firm. And guess what he's doing now? Yep, private equity is getting ready to take over the funding of the U.S. Army. Okay, this is reporting from Semaphore, quote, the U.S. Army has turned to private equity to fund an infrastructure overhaul. 2 top White House officials met with Wall Street investors last week, part of a Trump administration effort to enlist the $13 trillion private capital industry into public financing. This is not good because, different than public funding, The only thing that these guys care about is returning money to shareholders. In fact, they have a fiduciary duty to maximize returns. In fact, many people don't know this, but private equity funds are contractually obligated to liquidate within a certain time horizon. And so that means at the end of their investment cycle, they must return money back to the shareholders no matter what. So in this case, their investment is weapons. So the only possible outcome in which their assets go up is, of course, more war.
Yeah. And the only caveat I would add there is I don't know how much they're investing directly into the weapons side. I think it may have more to do with the support. But either way, the end result, is still the same. They're investing in war. So yeah. And that's why, we're seeing that, the groups that are causing trouble over in the Congo have been linked to us in the West. And then guess who provides the solutions? Us. Well, Eric Prince, to be exact. And then guess the next one that's coming now. You guys, we're all hearing more about Christians being killed in Nigeria. They might need some freedom next. Nigeria has a ton of natural resources. So we're just going apart, picking out all these countries, destroying them, and then saying, these guys can't manage themselves. We need to go in and do it for them.
Let's, if people didn't hear about Eric Prince, let's remind them, because we did cover this earlier on the show a few weeks back.
It's just such an amazing clip. I think repetition needs to happen because people need to understand how these folks think. This is how they think, unfortunately.
Okay. Here we go. Going to the, okay, hold on. Here we go. These guys, every time they open their mouth, they think they're doing themselves good, but they always give away the plan. Okay, here we go. Eric Prince, he's going to tell us what's going on in Africa. Here we go.
Look, all this talk of illegal migration in Europe, in the United States, it ultimately comes down to a contest of what is governance. Who is governed? Which countries are governed well? And if so many of these countries around the world are incapable of governing themselves, then it's time for us to just put the imperial hat back on to say, we're going to govern those countries if you're incapable of governing yourselves, because enough is enough. We're done being invaded.
Because our own national security risk is at stake.
Exactly.
National security interests are at stake.
You can say that about pretty much all of Africa. They're incapable of governing themselves and benefiting their citizens because the governments there are all about looting and pillaging and lining their pockets and going shopping in Paris instead of actually making their country better.
People on the left are going to watch this. They're going to say, wait a minute, Eric Prince is talking about being a colonialist again.
Absolutely.
Goddamn right.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, wow.
And he also said the same thing about South America too. So it's like what he's telling us is that don't think about Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, and all the other African leaders that wanted to do the right thing that we shot. And don't think about the fact that we're the ones corrupting these governments and threatening these people and destabilizing these countries and funding rebel groups all over the world that are making these people leave. Don't think about that. Just look at the end result of the situation we've created, blame the people who we are targeting, and then go in and then make their situation worse, I guess, because we know what's best, because there's no corruption in America. So clearly we know how to run government without corruption. And I'll be honest with you, like the fact that that man is able to set foot in Africa or any of his businesses are able to still deal with African governments, I blame every single African leader that agreed to that, because he's not even hiding who he is and they're still doing business with him. Like, I don't know anything about the president of the Congo. I don't want to judge him based on what's happening over there. But the fact that he went to this guy for protection is absolutely insane. You could have gone to anybody else in the world, but you chose Eric Prince to secure your natural resources. That is amazing. So I am not removing responsibility from the people on the ground, but we also have to talk about who's creating the situation and the role we play in it. And there is no doubt that the US government plays a gigantic role in this, and not just the US government. Our NATO buddies have been doing this for a very long time. We're just like the top dog right now. So
he literally said, I'm going to be putting my imperialist hat on, or he said back on. I had to put my imperialist hat back on and go in there and start some shit, basically.
yeah,
That's
because it worked out so well the last time.
Does the president of Congo, do they know what imperialism means?
I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
It would just take a quick Google search. You could yes, you can actually find this out on Google, because he's telling us this is look at our track record, and we're gonna go F you up. We've effed up so many other countries, we're gonna F you guys up next, and we're just gonna do it, and we're gonna brag about it. We're gonna brag about it before we do it, while we're doing it, and after we're doing it. So yeah, this was definitely an important clip. And I do think more people should be talking about this expansion of the military.
And really quick, honestly, this should be common ground between the left and the right? Because the right doesn't want illegal immigration. They want to know who's coming in and out the country. But if we are directly creating the situations that make people risk it all to travel to a country illegally, then how can we complain about the end result without addressing our role in the reason they're coming here? So, liberals argue for, like, I was on a space with someone the other day who told me that the concept of borders is racist and that everyone should be allowed to come in and out of America as they please. I don't agree with that. I'm an immigrant, and I think we should know who's coming in and out the country, and there should be some type of strategy to it. We shouldn't allow, like, cold-blooded murderers and like actual terrorists that we probably trained, like, to just walk in to the country, because if we don't have borders, like we're not actually a real country. So it's like but most people would agree that we should know who's coming in and out, and most people should agree that, all right, maybe we shouldn't destroy their countries and make them come over here. So the fact that this is such a controversial issue and we only focus on how we treat people when they're here is insane. And the fact that the illegal immigration is sometimes framed as like a war on Americans, and they think that the majority of these immigrants coming over are doing it to target Americans, like, is insane. Now, does that mean that we should pay attention to like what's happening with the military and some of Trump's orders, and maybe how some illegal immigrants may be, weaponized for that? I mean, yes, like I just saw a story the other day. I need to look into it. There's so much stuff coming at us, but now Trump is launching, what is it? A civil unrest branch of the military. So he's essentially creating a new branch of the military that's specifically for dealing with unrest over here. So if they come out and offer citizenship to illegal immigrants to sign up for this military, that is another possibility, honestly. And we should talk about that. But again, who is creating the problem in that situation? And is it helpful to just talk negatively about illegal immigrants in that process? So these are all things that we should talk about without attacking people directly and without generalizing about people, because the truth is the majority of the people coming here are coming here because we've destroyed their home countries and they don't see any opportunity over there, and they'll risk it all to live a working class or a middle class life over here. That's the truth about the overwhelming majority of people who come here.